Uh-oh, some people are in big trouble over at the United States Mint. Let's discuss it, and while we're at it, let's explore. In a shocking new scandal that is brewing here at the United States Mint, action has already been taken. But I'm going to be reporting from the Free Press, which, by the way, isn't really free. But there's an exclusive look at what's happened here as the United States Mint scrambles to conceal its DEI personnel. This is a common theme, it seems like, in the deep state. And the deep state has been entrenched in the United States Mint, apparently. This is pretty wild. The Bureau hid its 5 DEI staffers from Trump and then covered their trail, according to a whistleblower that has told the Free Press here. This piece here is pretty interesting, and there's some action that has been taken just this morning, in fact, just an hour or so ago, as of the recording of this video. The United States Mint has hidden its 5 diversity, equity, and inclusion personnel from President Trump's acts, and has even deleted the chief DEI officer's background from its website, a whistleblower has told the Free Press. In fact, I've been watching the website to see what changes were made, and I noticed some. On January the 20th, Trump issued an executive order effectively terminating all DEI offices, positions, and programs across the federal government. And before I go on, I just want to explain that, diversity, equity, and inclusion may sound good on the surface, but those who aren't familiar with it, essentially it is reverse racism. It is actually racism, period. But what I mean by reverse racism, it is exclusively racist towards white men. That's really the bottom line. It is anti-whiteism. Pure and simple, that's what's going on there. The United States Mint, a division of the U.S. Treasury responsible for manufacturing coins, has employed 5 staffers in its Office of Equity and Inclusion since the department's inception in 2022. On December the 3rd, 2024, the OEI office was closed and all 5 staffers were rehomed in other parts of the agency, according to Mint employee Brian Martin told the Free Press. So I will give the Free Press this. They have a source, and they named the source. How often do you see that in media? Hardly ever. Martin said he is personally aware of these moves because 2 of the staffers have since taken his job. Well, there you go. I think that is a good impetus to and motivator to bring this all out into light. Martin, who used to work as a web content manager in the Mint's Public Affairs Department, said 2 DEI officers, Luz Sullivan and Vicky Best Morris, are now doing the PR duties he once performed, including writing and distributing educational content for children, conducting outreach to schools, and supervising public affairs contractors. On December the 29th, he was reassigned to the Sales and Marketing Department. Before he was shifted, Chief Human Capital Officer Cammie McLean told Martin the move was for efficiency and based solely on the business needs of the Mint, according to an email that was obtained by the Free Press. This led Martin to register a formal complaint to the Office of Personnel Management, which he shared with the Free Press. What has happened to me over the last few months, he wrote in the complaint, is a prime example of the toxic nature of forcing political values into a federal office and the complete disregard for equal and fair treatment that comes about as a result. Amen. And that is really what is involved in the administrative state and the deep state that has been in trend since the 60s, but in reality it's been around for a lot longer than that, and Elon Musk and Donald Trump are shaking things up in that regard. Now, the United States Mint does produce products, and the quality control has been lacking, for sure, in many different ways, and I've talked about that before, and these things have been entrenched by the United States Mint for a long time, even before Biden took office. I was complaining about that when Trump was in office the first time, and even before that. But nonetheless, the Silver Eagle is the most popular bullion coin on the planet, and here's an American buffalo, and you can get both of those coins over at Summit Metals, a channel sponsor, and they have a great prices on their products, excellent service, and fast shipping. So check out summitmetals.com. Together, as the story continues, the 5 former DEI staffers at the Mint made $722,755 in 2023, according to the most recently available financial disclosure forms. That's a heck of a lot of money. Wow. 3 of the 5 OEI officers were moved to open positions in the 12-strong Department of Public Affairs, where Martin used to work. Now, here are the 3 names that the Free Press gives us. Number 1, Dennis Fish, formerly the Mint's Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer, who now holds the title of Chief of Public Affairs. Vicki Best Morris, who has retained her title of Community Outreach Coordinator. And Luz Sullivan, formerly Recruitment and Special Emphasis Coordinator, who is now the title of Management Analyst. And that's what they do. They like to give different names, like DEI, or ESG rather, and now they call it corporate responsibility. It's still DEI. But a lot of these places, they've been doing it for political reasons, and I hate it when businesses kowtow to that. They're in the business to make money and provide services. That's it. Now, the remaining 2 OEI officers were placed in the Mint's Equal Employment Opportunity Office. They are Shanice Taylor Nee Hoffman, formerly the DEIA, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility Senior Advisor, who is now an Equal Employment Specialist, and David LaBoy, formerly an Equity and Inclusion Data Analyst, who is now just a Data Analyst. So what's strange is that if you go to Dennis Fish's biography page at the U.S. Mint's website, his previous title as Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer, post he has held since 2022, is gone. But it's not by chance. This is a really deep expose of this, but you need your email address to sign up to be able to see this. I went ahead and did it. I don't like to do that, but this was such an important story that I went and decided to do it because they have the exclusive on it. On January the 22nd, 2 days after Trump issued his executive order on DEI, Mint Director Ventris Gibson warned staffers that any changes to DEI personnel descriptions would be reported to the agency, according to emails Martin shared with the Free Press. And yet 2 days later, Joe Westian, and Deputy Chief of Public Affairs, told a web designer who reports to Martin to scrub Fish's DEI experience from the website. The web designer replied to Westian, saying Martin would not allow her to make the change. After Westian pushed back, saying DEIA references should be removed from our digital channels, Martin responded directly to Westian, saying he cannot authorize the designer to make that change because editing a bio would be considered an attempt to obscure the connection to DEIA. Later that day, Martin received an email from an e-commerce project manager telling him that the Fish's DEI experience had been deleted from the site. 3 days later, Martin reported the deletion of the bio to the office of Ventris Gibson, but he never heard back, he said. Martin, who is a father of 7, told me that he served in the military for 12 years and received the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, which is one level below the Purple Heart. He said he is disappointed by the lack of fairness at the Mint, which he feels powerless to oppose. I don't blame him. You feel like if you speak up and you complain that you are jeopardizing your career, at a certain point, you have those long nights when you can't sleep. You have to ask yourself, is this worth it? They tried to go around me, Martin added. It's such a sloppy attempt to hide their behavior. Exactly right. Wow. This is big news here, folks. And there's a resolution to this that you're going to hear about in just in a moment. Now, emails requesting comment from all 5 former DEI Mint officers, as well as Westian and McLean, were not returned. No surprise. And all of them did not reply to messages left on their phones. And when reached by phone on Thursday, Mint Director Ventris Gibson declined to comment. Of course, she also declined to do an interview on this channel to discuss issues, any kind of issues. I even offered that I would provide the questions in advance. Although all 5 officers were moved in December before Trump issued his executive order, the mandate still applies. Ilya Shapiro, director of constitutional studies at the Manhattan Institute, told the Free Press the question now is whether or not the 5 former DEI staffers are doing truly new jobs or fake jobs that are a cover for DEI. It will depend on what these staffers end up doing. If they continue doing DEI programming, then that's blatantly going against the executive orders, according to Shapiro. If they're somehow retooling, then that's a different matter. But I'm skeptical that they will be, given that they weren't needed for those tasks before. The Mint, which employs nearly 1,700 across 6 facilities, is not the first government organization accused of concealing DEI staffers and programming from the Trump administration. There's others, and we won't get into those, but in addition to his complaint to the Treasury Department, Martin filed a grievance with the labor union that represents U.S. Treasury employees on February the 25th. The union denied his grievance, according to an email obtained by the Free Press. Wow, it's crazy. My agency showed no respect for my service, nor for me as a person, Martin wrote in his formal complaint, and I'm not sure where my career will go from here. Crazy. Wow. Well, I tell you what, there has now been action taken, and this is something for sure that was shared with me that by Alan Gold. The Treasury Department just posted this on X. This morning, the Treasury Department placed a group of individuals at the United States Mint on administrative leave and have begun investigating allegations of DEI practices that are contrary to the president's mandate. Boom! And I agree with that. And I think that's the least. Hopefully it'll lead to the firing of these people for blatantly going against the president and what DEI is. And remember, this is probably just a small and tiny example of the wake of the destruction that DEI brings to these agencies and to any place. DEI is poison. It is flat out racism, folks. The United States Mint should have no part of it. No government agency or any organization or business should be a part of DEI or being able to discriminate against anyone because of their color of their skin or anything else, or their sexual preference or anything. We want true equal opportunity for all races, for men and women. And I believe that that's really what it should be, based off of merit. That's it. Heck, the Treasury Secretary himself is a gay man. But it's because of his merit as to why he got this position. And it's under his orders that this is being implemented to get rid of this nonsense. So the United States Mint, it's good to see that action is being taken. Now, the other thing that needs to happen in the United States Mint, which I think is just as much of a scandal, is to improve their quality control for their products. It is horrible in many ways, and I've discussed that before in the past, from their bullion coins to the circulating coins, and especially the high premium proof coins, such as you see here. And they have problems. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but nonetheless, this scandal is something that very well could lead to bigger things going on, as maybe Doge will go in and monitor and the United States Mint itself. Of course, all that leads to what's going to be happening under the auspices of the United States Mint is the gold holdings at Fort Knox and other places. There's several locations, including Denver, Philadelphia, West Point, and New York. So we'll see how this plays out, but let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.